Welcome to part 2 of my very first fursuit tutorial. Today we're going from this to this in this amount of time. I want to answer a couple questions I got before we get started. So first of all, yes, this is the base I used for Marie. Like I showed you in part 1, the bases have a moving jaw, and Marie is no exception. I still have one slot left open on my commission, so if you're interested, just DM me. First things first, to prevent overlap, I want to make sure that the top and bottom parts of the duct tape are exactly equal and dead center. You'll see in the background I have this air purifier, and that's because we're cutting out a lot of fur today. I'm not using scissors, I'm using a box cutter, so trigger warning if that bothers you. I'm going to start by separating the pieces where it curves the most. Right here you can see it's the top jaw right where the muzzle is. I also have to make sure I cut small enough and clean enough to see where all of the details and different patterns are. All of those are different colors. Me personally, I usually start with the top jaw and then move on to under the eye, the cheek, right behind the cheek, and the bottom jaw. This is pretty much the exact rule I follow no matter what base it is. Even on my other bases that are foam, these follow the exact same pattern. Be careful when you start pulling off the duct tape because it is really easy for it to fold over on itself, and it's such a pain in the ass to get it unstuck or, God forbid, redo the entire piece. You can see here I'm separating the ear from the head base and moving on to separating the cheek. I have to be pretty careful when I cut out these cheek patterns because they're pretty detailed and they come to a point. But it came out just fine. Normally I know what pieces go where, but for video's sake I will be labeling everything. Now I'm going to separate the top and bottom jaw very carefully without letting the duct tape fold over on itself. You can see on the ears I'm going to cut out where the lines are thickest. This total process probably took me around 6 hours. Most of these clips are sped up 45 times. Here are all the pieces laid out on the floor. I separated all the white pieces so we can start cutting it out. Be very careful when you start cutting out fur because it's really easy to lose the fur direction. For video purposes, I will be putting arrows on it. You can see that they match the arrows on the pieces. Whenever you have a curved piece like this, stick the very bottom and then slowly cut up from there. You'll be able to feel when the duct tape pulls. Once it starts pulling, just cut it right there. The piece lays flat after 2 cuts. You can see that this arrow is pointing in the wrong direction, so I'm going to look at the left arrow and the right arrow and meet it directly in the middle. Unless the fur is literally upside down, it really doesn't matter what direction it's facing. Next, I'm going to lightly sketch out all the pieces using a Sharpie. And I'll label it for video purposes. Now, even though this is from the left side of the base, I put it on the back side of the fur, which means that this is now the right side. This is a really easy thing to mess up, but once it's time for sewing, it's pretty easy to figure out which piece goes where. Now it's time to trace all those pieces onto the fur, and remember to mirror each one. This is a very long process. I had a lot of music in the background, and I was actually starting to binge watch the new season of The Amazing World of Gumball. Highly recommend, it is very nostalgic for me. Now that I have everything drawn out, it's time to use the box cutter. Once again, trigger warning, I will be using this to cut out every single piece. You can see here in some pieces there's little triangles taken out. I'm not going to cut those out yet, I'm cutting them out after I shave them. It makes it easier to shave. So for now I'm just going to cut it out as one solid round piece. If anyone knows what to do with these little scrap pieces, I really hate wasting things, especially when it's plastic. If anyone wants to buy it, if anyone knows what to do with it, please let me know because I hate throwing these things away. Now it's time for blue. Another way to easily tell which direction the fur is going is knowing that it's always going to be parallel with the shoulder of the fur. If you can see the shoulder, you'll know it's either going up or down from there. Speaking of the shoulder of the fur, I highly recommend that you do not use those for fursuit making because the texture is usually totally different from the rest of the fur. Fun fact about these 2 colors, I actually used these 2 exact colors for Marie's bodysuit. That's a secret for now, but I'll show you guys later. Hydration is important, and since I've been on the floor for 4 hours straight cutting out fur, I'm going to make me some lemon water. I have a pretty hard time drinking water by itself, so the lemon helps it go down. Also, it's just good for you. My city is currently on a boil warning, so I'm gonna have to use bottled water for this. How else would I get my weekly macro dose of microplastics? It's time to start shaving the fur. It's really important to remember to wear a mask because groomer's lung is not curable. This is also why I have that air purifier. Every time I shave a piece, I go back over it with a slicker brush to shave it again. This makes sure it's 100% smooth. Fun fact, this clip you're watching right now is over 20 minutes long and I sped it up 43 times. I don't know if you can see that, but this is exactly why I wear a mask. Now it's time for the smaller detailed pieces. I saved these for last so I didn't lose track of them. This is Meow Meow, she likes being a part of things, but now she's in the way. Head kisses before I have to kick her out of my station. You can see those half ovals I drew on the inner ear on both sides. This is the long part of the fur. I'm shaving the rest, but that one oval will be left long. I think it just makes the ear look a little more aesthetically pleasing with how poofy it is, and it gives it a pop. I recommend if you're going to do this to use a slicker brush and part it directly where the line is. It'll be much easier to shave and you can tell that it's 100% consistent. See? That's all for now. Like and follow for part 2 where I show you how to sew everything.